Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Chewy. Welcome to the 4th episode of Paper Ice Podcast and the 2nd episode of Let's Talk Boxing series. Yeah, man, I was on Instagram earlier and I was going through the feed and I seen some stuff and I was like, man, I wanted to talk a little bit about what I seen. So first and foremost, I seen Juan Manuel Marquez. He announced his return after he hasn't fought since 2014. He announced his return against my favorite fighter of all time, Miguel Cotto, and I'm super excited to see that fight. I don't know why it's happening. It's going to be an exhibition fight, and I think it's going to be for charity or something like that. But I don't know why they're doing it. These guys are coming out of retirement. Miguel Cotto hasn't fought since I believe it was 2019. He fought Saddam Ali, and he lost that fight. And a little bit after he announced his retirement, Juan Manuel Marquez hasn't fought. I think the last time he fought was Mike Alvarado, like in 2014. So he's been out of the game for a while. But I'm just super excited, man. Miguel Cotto is my favorite fighter, like I said, and it's going to be another, Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry. And I don't know what weight it's going to be at, but both these guys are 4-division champs, so we'll see what weight it's going to be at. These guys probably got a little bit bigger. But, yeah, it's been a thing. Like I said, a lot of these older fighters are coming out to fight again. In my last episode, I talked about Oscar De La Hoya. There was a rumor that he was going to come back and fight. And sure enough, yesterday he announced his return, July 3rd. I don't think he's announced who he's going to fight yet. But sure enough, he's coming back to fight. He announced it, and he's going to, I guess he's being serious. A lot of people are hating on him, especially guys like Dana White, are saying he's too old, it's silly, it's a risk. And, I mean, it's true. It is a risk, and I don't know why it's happening, but he's going to do it. I guess he just wants to prove that he still has it. But like I said, I'm all for it, and I'm super excited. Yeah, so let's see what happens with that. Another thing I was going through my feed was pretty cool was I seen the weigh-in for the upcoming fight against Jake Paul, the YouTuber, or whatever you want to call him. He's an artist, rapper. What do they call him? Influencer. He's fighting Ben Askren, MMA fighter. I really don't know much about Ben Askren, but I was watching the weigh-in and I thought it was pretty funny, man, because you can see the difference now. As when you're a UFC fighter or a boxer or MMA fighter, and those lights are different. I don't know if you guys ever remember Mayweather. He would talk about, like, it's all fun and games until you're right there in front of the camera. There's a bunch of cameras around you. You have an audience around you, and it hits different, And you could kind of see that yesterday or over the weekend during the weigh-in. You could kind of see that with Jake Paul. I'm pretty sure he's used to the limelight. I'm pretty sure he's used to his fame, but it's a different ball game. When you're in another world, you're in a fighter's world, and the weigh-in, he was just red and awkward, and he was trying to be tough and seem funny, and it was just all around weird. And especially during the face-off, Ben Askren was walking away. You guys seen it. He put his hand in Jake Paul's face, and Jake Paul's reaction was hilarious. I mean, I guess his first reaction was to slap Ben Askren in the belly and they kind of push him, and it was just hilarious. Honestly, it looked like a little kid reacting to a shove or something, but I don't know. I'm super excited for the fight still. I'm going to watch it. And what's crazy is, and a lot of people have been saying this, and I said it from the beginning, like when he fought Nate Robinson, his last fight, and he knocked him out during his training, dude, Jake Paul can fight. He knows how to throw punches. He has footwork. Dude's strong. I guess in his sparring, he was knocking dudes out. Even recently, training for this fight, they were uploading videos of him knocking dudes out. And I said it from the beginning. When I seen that fight, I was like, dude, this guy, he knows how to throw his jab, and he knows what he's doing, And sure enough, I was watching these other, like the Mike Tyson podcast, and Joe Rogan talked about it, and a lot of these other fighters like what's his name, Brian Schaub, they talked about it. They said this guy, if you were to train and be serious, which I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing, he can actually be a fighter, later on have a couple more serious fights and maybe not make a name for himself, but you know what I mean, like kind of show what he has. So that's pretty exciting. I don't know if you guys know though, on that fight, which is pretty cool, Frank Mir, old UFC fighter. He's making his boxing pro debut too against boxer Steve Cunningham. Steve Cunningham, he was a former IBF cruiserweight champ. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but I was looking through some stuff on the internet and came through that site, one of the sites, and they announced it. Yeah, so I guess Frank Mir was supposed to fight Antonio Tarver. I guess Antonio Tarver was training to fight Frank Mir, and something happened with Tarver, and he backed out of the fight. So now it's going to be Steve Cunningham versus Frank Mir. So that's going to be one of the undercards. I'm pretty sure they're going to have other fights too. I don't know, man. I kind of like that pay-per-view trailer. They were talking about it today on some of the podcasts I was listening to about it's kind of like a concert performance. You know, the last one they had with the Tyson and Jones Jr. fight, they had like Wiz Khalifa and other artists perform, which I thought it was cool, you know, to kill dead time and keep us waiting and stuff like that. But I guess they're going to do that this time too, so I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys know Canelo too. He just announced out his last fight, Billy Joe Saunders. Super excited about that fight. It's going to be an actual super middleweight fight. I don't know what they're fighting. I think they're fighting at 168, and they're going to unify the titles. Canelo, WBA champ, Ring Magazine, WBO, and I think Billy Joe Saunders has the IBF, and he has the other two titles. So they're going to unify the titles, and this is it. This is the fight we've all been waiting for. So I'm super excited about that. I don't know. I mean, my take on it is Canelo's going to take it. You know, people think, you know, Billy Joe Saunders is a big guy. You know, he's fought dudes like in the past. He's fought dudes like Andy Lee, Eubank Jr. He fought Martin Murray was his last fight. And he beat all those guys. So he's a good fighter. He's a natural middleweight, super middleweight. And the thing is, Canelo, man, he just surprises everybody. You know, when he fought Kovalev, Caleb Smith, these big guys, you know, he just worked the body, broke him down until he finally knocked him out. So and that's the thing about Canelo. You know, Canelo changed his whole game plan against these fighters. He's just working defense. You know, moving that head. Moving that, just dodging those punches. And honestly, I think a lot of that came from his fight against Mayweather. Before Mayweather, Canelo was an offensive fighter. He was an aggressor. He would always come forward. You know, when he fought like Mosley, when he fought dudes like Austin Trout, when he fought dudes like Josecito Lopez, he fought these dudes. He came forward. He was an aggressor. And once he fought Mayweather, you know, everything kind of changed. He kind of like something kind of clicked, and he was like, you know what? I can win these fights by boxing and having my defense on game, which is what he's been doing. And ever since then, that's what's winning his fights. You can't catch him, you can't hit him. His head movement, he displayed it against Triple G, both fights. Against Daniel Jacobs, he fought beautifully. You know, you couldn't catch him. And I think he's gonna do the same thing against Billy Joe Saunders. Billy Joe Saunders is a bigger guy, slower guy, and it's just going to be probably the same outcome. Body shot, break him down to the body. So, yeah, man, that's pretty cool. Another fight announced was Jaime Mungai. I think he's fighting Alex. I can't pronounce the dude's last name. Saki or something like that. That guy, yeah, I guess he's like ranked number 9. So, in the middleweight division. Yeah, Jaime Mungai. I think that's how you say his last name. I'm not pretty sure. He's a young cat, middleweight division also. He's a good fighter, man, but like I was saying on my last podcast, sorry about that. My last podcast, once you get to that elite level, it's just hard, man. And I think Jaime is going to have a problem because, the way he fights, he's strong, but he's just too slow. And I think against fighters like that, like you have Demetrius Andrade, you have, the Charlo brothers, you know, you have all these big, Canelo, you have all these big Triple G, David Lemieux, you have all these big middleweights, and they're fast, you know, they don't just have the power, they have the speed, and I don't see the speed in Jaime. But I don't know, I might be wrong. Who am I? I'm just a boxing fan, and he might prove us wrong. David Haney announced the fight also too. I'm not sure who he's fighting. I just barely caught that a while ago. He fought that. Another fight that was announced, which I thought was pretty weird, but Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. announced a fight against Anderson Silva, the UFC fighter. Not sure where that fight's taking place or when it's taking place. I thought it was going to be fake. I thought it was fake news, but I went to a couple boxing outlets, and sure enough, they are going to fight. I don't know why that fight was made, but it's been a rough road for Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. These last couple of years. He's been trying to get fights. I think the last fight he had was in Mexico, and then we all know what happened when he fought Canelo. He finally got that fight, and he completely lost that fight. He was outboxed for 12 rounds. And I don't know if you guys know, that fight was supposed to happen against Canelo. I think they were supposed to fight at 154, I believe, way years before. So if that fight would have happened before, I don't know, probably would have been the same outcome. But, Chavez Jr., believe it or not, is one of my favorite fighters. I like watching him fight. I like watching his brother Omar Chavez fight. So, yeah, I'll see what happens with that. So, I don't know, pretty crazy. A lot of rumors. Fernando Vargas, like I said, might come back, make a return, and so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I just wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about that stuff. Appreciate you guys for listening. If you're listening, if you guys want, like, subscribe, and we'll see what happens next. We'll talk about maybe I'll get on here and talk about the fights afterwards, especially the Jake Paul fight. But yeah, appreciate your guys' support, and see you guys on the next episode. Thank you. Later.